All right, strap yourselves in because we're about to dive into some seriously intense territory in the book of Revelation.
Yeah, no kidding. We're tackling those epic judgments, the seven seals and the seven trumpets and those seven
Oh,
bowls.
my right. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this stuff can get pretty, well, pretty terrifying.
It can, yeah.
But that's also what makes it so fascinating, right? I mean, it's this wild, symbolic language that speaks to our deepest fears and hopes.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we're here, right?
Yeah.
To try and unpack it all.
Exactly. So before we jump headfirst into all the doom and gloom, let's set the stage a bit.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, so where do these judgments fit into the big picture of Revelation? What's the context here?
Well, these judgments are supposed to happen during what all the tribulation period,
Ah, yes, the tribulation period.
a time of like massive turmoil and upheaval.
Okay, so it's not just like random chaos and destruction.
Right, it's not random at all.
So there's a purpose behind it all.
Yeah, according to Revelation, it's all about ultimately bringing about God's kingdom on earth.
Okay, interesting stuff. So we've got the backdrop now, ready to crack open those seven seals.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Hit me with it.
So we're in chapter 6 through 8 of Revelation.
Okay.
And it starts with this mysterious scroll, sealed with seven seals.
Okay, a scroll, seven seals. This is already sounding pretty dramatic.
Yeah, right. It's like a cosmic treasure chest, all locked up, and nobody knows who's got the key.
Yeah, John, the author of Revelation, really knows how to build the suspense.
Yeah, he does.
You know, he describes this powerful angel searching all over creation for someone worthy to open the scroll.
Right. And in the end, only one being is found worthy.
And that being is
Jesus.
Jesus.
But it's not just, any Jesus. It's Jesus depicted in this incredibly powerful way.
Oh, I like this. Tell me more.
He's both the Lion of Judah, representing strength and kingship, and also the slain lamb.
Huh, the slain lamb, symbolizing.
Sac-
Yeah. That's a pretty powerful image, right? Strength and sacrifice all wrapped up in one.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so Jesus breaks the first seal and cue the ominous music, right? What happens?
Outrides the first of the Four Horsemen of the apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Apocalypse bingo card. Here we go. So tell me about this first horseman. Who is he? What does he represent?
Well, he's riding a white horse, and he's carrying a bow, and he's wearing a crown.
A crown. Interesting.
There's some debate about what exactly he symbolizes.
Yeah.
But one interpretation is that he represents conquest, maybe even like a deceptive peace.
A deceptive peace, like the calm before the storm kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Okay, seal number 2 is broken. What fresh hell's unleashed this time?
Okay, so now things definitely escalate with this one.
Okay.
The second seal releases a rider on a fiery red horse.
Oh, okay, a red horse. That's not usually a good sign.
No, it's not.
And what's he carrying?
He's carrying a giant sword.
A giant sword? That's not good either.
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. I mean, it represents war and bloodshed.
Makes sense. War often follows those periods of false peace.
Yeah, right.
Seal number 3, what about that one? More violence.
This one is a different kind of devastation, actually. It's a black horse this time, and the rider is holding a pair of scales.
Scales. That's a new one.
Yeah, so this symbolizes famine and economic hardship. Like a breakdown of society, basically.
Makes sense. With war comes shortages.
Right.
Okay, we've got conquest, we've got war, we've got famine. John is really hitting us with all the classic apocalyptic tropes here.
He is, but he's not done yet.
I figure as much.
Yeah.
Okay, fourth seal. What horrors await us now?
Okay, this one is definitely the most chilling of the Four Horsemen.
Okay, the most chilling. All right, lay it on me.
He rides a pale horse, and his name is Death.
His name is Death. Yikes.
And following right behind him is Hades, the realm of the dead.
I am getting chills.
Yeah, so this seal unleashes death on a massive scale, not just through violence, but also through disease and wild animals.
So it's like this picture of widespread suffering, just the complete fragility of life.
Exactly, it's pretty bleak.
Okay, so the first 4 seals have painted a pretty grim picture of life on Earth during this tribulation period.
Yeah, I'd say so.
War, famine, disease, death, it's heavy stuff. But then we get to the 5th seal, and things take a bit of a turn, right? We kind of shift from the earthly chaos to the heavenly realm.
Yeah, we do.
What's going on up there?
Well, with the 5th seal, John sees these souls underneath the altar in heaven.
Okay, souls under the altar.
Yeah, and they're crying out for justice.
They're crying out for justice. Who are they?
They represent those who have been martyred for their faith.
Oh, I see.
And they're given these white robes, a symbol of purity and victory.
Yeah.
And they're told to wait, to wait just a little longer.
Wait a little longer. So it's like this pause in the action, a moment of reflection on, what it costs to be faithful. Exactly. It's a powerful moment.
It also kind of raises the question of God's timing, right?
It does, yeah.
Like, why the delay? Why do they have to wait for justice?
Yeah, and that's a question that runs throughout the whole book of Revelation, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's about trusting in God's timing, even when it just doesn't make sense to us.
Okay, so we have this brief but powerful scene in heaven. Then with the sixth seal, we're back to Earth, and things get really apocalyptic.
Yeah, you could say that.
We're talking like cosmic level chaos.
It's like the whole universe is being shaken up,
Okay, paint me a picture.
Okay, so John describes this massive earthquake, and the sun turns black, and the moon becomes blood red.
Okay, that's not good.
And stars are falling from the sky. It's wild.
It's like the foundations of creation are crumbling.
Yeah, exactly.
But people are terrified.
Oh, yeah, they're hiding in caves. They're begging for the mountains to fall on them, to hide them from God's wrath.
It's intense. I mean, they know something truly terrifying is coming.
Yeah, they do. And then, after all of that, we get to the seventh seal, and what happens?
Silence.
Silence.
It's this eerie silence in heaven. It lasts for about half an hour.
Half an hour. That must have felt like an eternity.
Yeah, I imagine so.
It's like the eye of the storm.
Exactly. The calm before the next wave crashes.
Okay, so the seals have definitely set the stage and painted a pretty grim picture, but as you said, this is just the first movement in this symphony of judgment.
It is.
So what comes next?
Well, that's when those seven angels with their seven trumpets, they step onto the stage.
Okay, seven angels, seven trumpets. That can't be good.
No, it's not.
But we'll have to save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we're back, and I guess you could say it's time to face the music.
Yeah, the trumpets are calling.
That they are. Last time, we left off with those seven angels getting ready to unleash their trumpet blasts of judgment.
Yeah, things are about to get real.
I'm kind of terrified, but also really curious, like, what's next in this cosmic drama?
It's like we just heard the overture, and now we're about to get the main symphony of, well, apocalyptic proportions.
Okay, so let's dive into those seven trumpets. What kind of vibe should we be feeling here? Because the seals were pretty intense, but I have a feeling the trumpets are going to be a whole other level.
Oh, yeah, the trumpets definitely kick it up a notch.
In what way?
Well, remember, the seals felt kind of like broad strokes, setting the stage with war, famine, death.
Yeah.
But the trumpets get way more specific.
Specific, like laser-focused destruction.
Exactly. Each trumpet blast targets a very specific element of creation. Vegetation, the sea, fresh water, the sky.
Okay, I'm getting chills.
It's like a systematic dismantling of the Earth's life support system.
All right, give me the rundown. Trumpet number 1, hit me with it.
Okay, so the first trumpet unleashes this terrifying mix of hail and fire.
Hail and fire. Okay, I've heard worse.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The fire is mixed with blood.
Blood. Okay, that's pretty metal.
It rains down on the Earth, burns up a third of all the planet's vegetation.
Oh, wow. That would be devastating.
Imagine the ecological collapse.
Yeah.
The wildfires, the famine, mass extinction.
Yeah, not a pretty picture.
Definitely not.
Okay, trumpet number 2. What's on the menu for this one?
This one targets the seas.
The seas. Okay.
John describes this massive burning mountain being hurled into the ocean.
A burning mountain.
Yeah, and the impact turns a third of the sea into blood.
So it's like the plagues of Egypt, but on a global scale?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
First the rivers turn to blood, now it's the entire ocean.
Okay, what's next? The sky is going to fall.
Well, a star does fall from the sky when the third trumpet sounds.
Okay, a falling star. I'm not too worried about that.
But this is no ordinary shooting star. This one is called wormwood.
Wormwood. That sounds ominous.
Yeah, it means bitterness in Hebrew.
Okay, so what does this bitter star do?
It poisons a third of the world's freshwater sources.
So rivers, lakes, springs, all contaminated.
Yeah, no more clean drinking water.
So we've got fire from the sky, blood red ocean, now poisoned water. John is really laying it on thick here.
He's not holding back.
Trumpet number 4, bring on the next plague.
Okay, this one is a little different. Instead of directly attacking the Earth, it targets the sky itself.
The sky. Okay, what happens to the sky?
A third of the sun, moon, and stars are darkened.
So it's like the world is plunged into perpetual twilight.
Yeah, imagine that, just constant dimness, disrupting all the natural cycles.
I'm starting to feel a bit uneasy here, and we're only 4 trumpets in.
Well, hold on tight because it gets even more intense.
Oh, great. That's just what I wanted to hear.
Before the 5th, 6th, and 7th trumpets, there's this warning from an eagle flying overhead.
An eagle warning. What does it say?
It cries out,
Yeah.
"Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth."
Whoa, whoa. Okay, I'm officially scared now.
These last 3 trumpets are called the 3 woes for a reason.
Okay, let's get this over with. What's the 5th trumpet, the first woe, unleash?
All right, this one is definitely the stuff of nightmares.
Okay, lay it on me.
A star falls from heaven, kind of like wormwood.
Another falling star.
But instead of hitting the water, this one opens the abyss.
The abyss, what is that, like a black hole or something?
It's described as this bottomless pit, a place of pure darkness and evil.
Okay, yeah. No, thank you.
And out of this abyss pours a swarm of demonic locusts.
Locusts. Oh, come on. That seems a little tame after all the fire and blood we've seen.
Oh no, these aren't your garden variety locusts.
What do you mean?
John describes them in detail. They have scorpion tails, human faces, lion-like teeth. They wear armor.
Okay, that's pretty terrifying.
Oh, and here's the worst part. They're not allowed to kill people.
Not allowed to kill people, so what do?
They torment them, inflicting excruciating pain for 5 months.
5 months. So it's like psychological torture on a global scale.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, 6th trumpet, 2nd woe. What does this one bring?
This one, unfortunately, does involve death.
Okay, go on.
4 angels who had been bound at the Euphrates River are released. They command a massive demonic army, 200 million strong, and they kill a third of humanity.
So we've got demonic locusts torturing people for 5 months, and then this demonic army comes sweeping in to finish the job.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, it's like John is really driving home the point about the power of evil during this tribulation period.
Yeah, it raises some interesting questions about free will and divine judgment, you know.
So many questions, and we've still got one more trumpet to go. What happens when that 7th trumpet sounds?
The 7th trumpet, the final woe, is actually different from the others.
Oh. How so?
Well, instead of unleashing another calamity, it signals a major shift.
Okay, a shift. In what way?
Loud voices in heaven proclaim, "The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he will reign forever and ever."
So it's like a turning point, a moment of victory in the midst of all this chaos and destruction.
Exactly. The 7th trumpet marks the end of the trumpet judgments and sets the stage for the final, most intense outpouring of God's wrath,
which are
the 7 bowls.
Okay. 7 bowls. All right, we need to take a breather and process all of this before we dive into that.
Yeah, good idea. It's been a lot.
What's standing out to you about these trumpet judgments?
I need a minute to collect my thoughts.
I'll be honest, it's a lot to wrap my head around, you know?
It is, yeah.
On one hand, it's just hard not to be just blown away by, the sheer scale of the destruction.
The scope is massive.
Fire and blood and poisoned water and these demonic locusts.
It's like a nightmare, right?
It's like a horror movie. But then, it hits you that John isn't writing a screenplay here. He's using this vivid, disturbing imagery to try and convey a deeper spiritual message.
Right. It's about so much more than just the physical events.
That's what I find so fascinating about Revelation. It's not just a story about the end of the world.
Right.
It's a reflection on the human condition, our relationship with God, the consequences of our choices.
And those woes from the trumpets, they really drive that point home, don't they?
They do. It's a wake-up call, right? It's like this cosmic alarm bell going off telling us to wake up and look around.
Yeah, to confront the darkness within ourselves and within society.
We tend to focus on the external chaos, but John's pointing to that internal chaos too, the spiritual turmoil.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the 7 bowls of wrath, the climax of it all.
The grand finale.
If the trumpets were intense, I can only imagine what the bowls are going to bring.
Oh, the bowls are a whole other level. The point of no return, you could say.
Oh, okay. I'm bracing myself.
Get ready.
What sets these bowls apart from the seals and the trumpets?
Well, there's this heightened sense of urgency, of finality.
Okay.
It's like the time for warnings is over, and now it's just judgment.
So it's less about correction and more about consequences.
You could put it that way, yeah.
All right, hit me with it. What does the first bowl bring?
Painful sores.
Sores. On who?
On those who bear the mark of the beast.
Okay, it's a quick reminder for anyone who might not be up on their Revelation trivia. What is the mark of the beast again?
Oh, it's like this symbol of allegiance to the Antichrist.
The Antichrist, right. The ultimate bad guy.
You got it.
So those who have this mark, they've chosen to side with evil.
Yeah, they've rejected God.
And so the first bowl is targeting them specifically.
Exactly. It's a consequence of their choice.
Okay, interesting. What about the second bowl?
This one is all about environmental devastation. The sea turns to blood. All life in it dies.
Again with the blood, but this time it's like the whole ocean, right?
Yeah, it's a global catastrophe.
It's interesting how these bowls are hitting both the personal and the environmental, like John's saying that sin and rebellion, they have these ripple effects.
Oh yeah, they impact everything.
Okay, third bowl, what's next?
Freshwater sources turn to blood, rivers, and springs, all contaminated.
So we've got sores, blood in the sea, blood in the rivers. It's like the whole world is being poisoned by sin and rebellion.
Yeah, it's a pretty bleak picture.
Fourth bowl, lay it on me.
This one turns off the heat. Literally, the sun scorches people with this intense heat.
So it's like we've gone from blood red water to scorching fire. It's like Jin's playing on all of our primal fears.
He is, but he's giving them this spiritual dimension.
And it continues with the fifth bowl, right?
The fifth bowl plunges the kingdom of the beast into darkness.
So it's like not just the absence of light, but also like the absence of hope.
The absence of God's presence.
Okay, bowl number 6. What's in store for us now?
This one dries up the Euphrates River.
Okay, the Euphrates. Why is that significant?
Well, it prepares the way for the kings of the East to gather for this final battle,
The Battle of Armageddon.
Yeah, a lot of people see it that way, the culmination of all this conflict.
The final showdown. Okay, we've reached the 7th and final bowl, the grand finale. What happens when this one is poured out?
This one unleashes a cataclysmic earthquake. The worst the world has ever seen. Thunder, lightning, giant hailstones.
Oh, wow.
Babylon, the city of evil and rebellion, is completely destroyed.
It's like the whole world is being shaken apart, purged by this final judgment.
It's intense, but it's important to remember that even in its most terrifying moments, Revelation is ultimately a message of hope.
Hope? But how? How can you find hope in all of this destruction?
Because destruction often comes before new creation.
Ah, okay.
Remember the seventh trumpet? It proclaimed that the kingdoms of the world now belong to God.
Yeah.
These judgments, as terrifying as they are, they're paving the way for a new heaven and a new earth, a place where there's no more suffering, no more death.
So it's like a cosmic reset button, a fresh start.
Exactly, and that's where we find the hope. Even in the midst of judgment, God is working to redeem and restore.
It's easy to get lost in the imagery and miss the bigger picture.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
Well, this has been quite a journey.
It has.
We've traveled through seals and trumpets and bowls, explored the depths of judgment and the promise of renewal, and it's left me with a lot to think about.
Me too, yeah.
And hopefully our listeners as well. So to everyone listening, we leave you with this. How do these images of judgment and renewal challenge you to think about your own life? Are there areas where you need to confront your own darkness and make changes, strive for that new creation within yourself?
Remember, even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, there's always hope. God is working to redeem and restore, both in the world and in our hearts. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep believing in the power of transformation.